Hello everybody, this is a quick video showing the fastest build for clearing lost sectors on Warlock. I'm going to go over the different aspects of the build and then show an example sector to show how the build is used. In the subclass, you want to run Phoenix Dive for proccing Restoration ×2 with Heat Rises. Strafe Glide is better than Burst Glide because it allows you to keep your momentum better with Heat Rises if you kind of bunny hop around or do what's called Heat Rises skating. Celestial Fire I use over Incinerator Snap just for the extra range. Grenade is basically up to you, but I like Solar Grenades for some bosses just to debuff and do a little extra damage. Icarus Dash and Heat Rises are a must for movement and keeping up your restoration. For the fragments, I run Ember of Empyrean to extend the buffs throughout the whole sector. Ember of Torches will give you Radiant at any time. Ember of Searing, make sure you get back that melee for proccing Radiant. It's just a little extra on top of Heat Rises to make sure your melee is always up. And Ember of Solace extends the cap for your buffs to make it a little bit easier when you have to transition between areas in lost sectors. The super doesn't really matter because most of the time you won't have it when this sector is finished. For your weapons, Gjallarhorn is a must. It's just great ad clear. It clears champions really easy and it does good boss damage. You're going to run this on every sector. For your energy weapon, there's some different choices that you can make. If possible, use a solar weapon so you can extend your buffs. But some cases in shorter sectors, you might not need to worry about the buff, and so things like the rocket pistol or forbearance are great for clearing out enemies. For the solar weapons, I use explosive personality as a wave frame, and if I need a fusion, then Royal Executioner is great, especially with Reservoir Burst to clear out some extra ads. And rare cases, Zeoli's can be nice if you need to clear some red bars at long distances. For your primary, if there's unstoppable champions, then running a hand cannon or a bow will clear those. If there's no unstoppables, then you can run a fusion like Riptide or Scatter Signal for applying debuffs or just doing extra damage. For the armor, Rain of Fire is a must. It allows you to reload all your weapons every time you Icarus Dash. You'll be doing that a lot to just pump out galley shots to clear out all the enemies. For the mods, I just run targeting mods for whatever type of weapons I have in the sector. I run a Solar Siphon just for getting a little extra orbs. Dexterity mods for whatever weapons I'm using. Triple reserves to make sure you have as many galley shots as possible. Triple surges to make sure your galleys are doing as much damage as possible. And then time dilation makes your armor charges last longer, just keeping things up easier. And then powerful attraction will help you pick up orbs as you're getting restoration. You can really throw whatever here. I just use outreach for keeping that melee up even more. In the artifact, some of the important ones are Solar Operative for just extra damage. I like Argent Ordnance because you're going to have armor charges all the time and it's just a little extra damage. If there's overloads, then run overload rocket launchers, but if not, then you can take it off and it'll actually make your rockets easier for killing barriers. Weakening enemies with solar abilities is just extra damage. Same thing for Strand and Stasis debuffs. You can use Chill Clip or whatever to proc this. Blast Radius, make sure you get those armor charges all the time. Sometimes Taken and Scorn enemies are in there, and that's just extra damage there. And the only thing you need for champions is Unstoppable, so hand cannons or bows can cover that. All other champions can be handled by Radiant or by rockets. Alright, we're going to go over an example sector to show how this build plays. At the beginning of every sector, you want to consume your grenade to pop Heat Rises. Here I'm going to do something that's called Heat Rises skating. So while I have my Icarus dashes up, I'm going to use them to gain momentum, and while they're down, I'm going to simply bunny hop off the ground, activate my jump and deactivate it real quick. That will conserve my momentum going forward and allow me to travel long distances a lot faster in sectors like this where you have to go a long ways. Right here I'm using my wave frame to make sure that I keep my Heat Rises up while also getting some armor charges and proccing Radiant thanks to the artifact mods. This is why using a solar weapon is really great when you can. Mess up my movement a little bit here, but I'm going to get going again using those Icarus dashes. Here I'm just driving by, stunning the overload with my hand cannon, and then I'm going to use our galley to kill it. If your light level is a little lower, then you might have to use a melee in there to get a little bit of extra damage. In this sector, it's very important to kill all the adds here at the back because they stop the boss from spawning. So killing them before the champions will ensure that you get to the boss a little earlier. I'm just going to continue to clear out the champions. I'm using the Icarus dash anytime I'm out of rockets to make sure I reload. And then here it's just killing the boss with a couple of rockets and a melee. And that's the sector. Now, in this sector I wasn't taking much damage, so I didn't worry about restoration. But anytime before you're going to kill a bunch of enemies, you can just use that Phoenix dive to get restoration, and then proccing the kills will keep it up. So that's how you use the build, and good luck.